Gentlemen, I think we are rocking and rolling. Got it. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the show. It is not Friday. It is not a noon live stream, but let me go over here and make sure the volume is not going to blast us. Perfect. It is Monday, but this week on Friday, I'm going to be gone. I'm not going to be able to do a live stream. And it is really important to me to fulfill the commitment of being able to at least deliver one live stream with the lead with your chin message once a week at least. So something happened over the weekend that I ended up then talking to my best friend, Mike Puccinelli, who happens to be on the call right now. And I talked to him and I flinched him with this idea after a conversation I had with another community member. And then he loved it. And so I'm like, I need the guy in the room who like can tell me if we're crazy or not. And so I called Gene not Alpha. Fuck. I called Yogadude.
Thanks, sir.
I called Yogadude to be able to have a rational conversation about what we're going to talk about today. So I just flinched him with it, but I told him I wanted to unpack it on a live stream so that we could demonstrate for everyone what a brainstorm looks like. Because when it comes to lead with your chin, this gentleman, and his name is within Telegram, Sun 3033, meaning SUN and then 30303. He reached out to me and he said, "Hey, I have an idea. I don't know if it's a good one, but I'd really like to talk to you about it." And I'm like, "Oh, I love this. I love that somebody who's actually listening out there and took my word that, hey, if you want to talk about something, I don't care what it is. If it's about advancing Epic Cash or private crypto, give me a buzz." And so this guy called me and just kind of quickly share the conversation. By the way, obviously I have Gene with us. Mike Puccinelli is he's a longtime community member, was the best man at my wedding. We've been best friends forever. And Mike, I was just thinking the last time I had you on this live stream, we were approaching $6.85 all-time high. So no pressure, Mike, no pressure, but a little bit of pressure. Let's break through that ATH this time, Mike. Okay.
I'll do my best, Todd. I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you.
Let's
Thank
make all that happen.
Right. So here's what happened. This guy calls me and first of all, he explained that he is self described as kind of an esoteric person. He's an inventor, scientist, and he said he wanted to talk about quantum entanglement. And he asked me if I knew what quantum entanglement was, and I honestly said no, not. I don't understand. No, I know nothing about it. And but I said, if you are going to try to explain it, please explain it to me like I'm in second grade, because that's what I need. And hey, Gene, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
On my I'm not seeing anybody in the comments. So is this live streaming?
We're definitely live streaming. I see it on.
Are you seeing comments?
Yep.
Okay, so are there people in the chat?
There's chat.
Okay.
I can't see how many and who, but there's definitely.
Okay, it says 8 watching, so that's good. But okay, well, I looked over and I'm like, man,
Yep.
I don't see any comments. So any of you out there, if you're putting comments in, I can't see them. I apologize about that. But
Sky King posted, Elita posted, so we're popping, man. We're good.
Before I move on, then
it's all happening.
Sky King, the only reason why I can actually speak today is because of your nod to tell me on Friday to go out and get some quercetin and some zinc, liquid zinc, and start taking this, because I was coming down with the crud, and I knew what was going to happen. And you gave me this, it's basically, you said take 1,000 milligrams. If one is good, two is better. I took 2,000, and then a couple of squirts or vials of that morning and evening. And man, all I can say is I don't feel perfect right now. You can probably hear it in my voice, but it stopped the advancement. So thank you, Sky King. I really appreciate that. I love the homeopathic treatment. And by the way, before I move on, I do have to, and while we give people a little time to get in here, Pooch and Ellie, my daughter Alex. I took Alex to dinner last night, along with my daughter Abby and my wife. And have you ever heard of the term Snow White Dad?
No.
Yeah.
No.
He was telling me the story. She's a pharmatech at CVS, and she said that, this guy was talking to, the pharmatech up front, and I could see him showing his cell phone, and I'm like, what? Is that my dad on the phone? And she goes over and she starts talking to this guy, and she goes, oh my gosh, I didn't know there was more than two Snow White dads. And she said, Dad, you're a Snow White dad. I'm like, what's a Snow White dad? And so she texted me what I had previously sent to her. So she sent me I sent her this apparently. Let me play it for you. So I guess being a Snow White dad is just something having to do with animals. Did Snow White have? I can't remember. I know there were dwarfs, but I guess the animals dug her too, right?
I think she had animals too. I think,
I don't
Everybody
know.
in the forest loves Snow White.
But I'm a Snow White dad. Okay, that gave people time to get into the chat. Let me continue. So this Sun 3033, I can hear everybody's like, oh, he must be Mason or something like that. No, it's 30303, probably a zip code or something. Anyway, he called and said that he's a he's an inventor and something that has to do with quantum physics. And he asked about quantum entanglement. And you know what? Instead of me destroying it, Yoga, I know that you are the smart one in the family here. Can you please tell us what quantum entanglement is?
Honestly, Todd, I think you nailed it. When you said, bring this down to like second grade level, I think there's really only two ways to talk about quantum entanglement and quantum properties in general is either at the second level, second grade level, or at like Einstein level, so to me, it's really, to boil it down very simply, at particle level, it's particles that are interconnected in ways we don't fully understand, where their properties are affected regardless of the distance between the particles. At the human level, which sounds, again, kind of mathy, and Einstein essentially described this as there are hidden variables that we don't understand at play why this happens. Okay, so we know it happens, but we don't know exactly why it happens.
Okay.
And then there's at a broader use, you have complex systems that exhibit these properties, and like twins, for example, or like sympathetic healing and things like that, where people, complex systems, not an atom, not a particle, right? But complex systems separated at, with large distances, exhibit these mysterious connections, persistent mysterious connections. And, we basically, what we know is that we definitely don't understand everything about the universe.
Okay,
so that's it in a nutshell. It's a connection between systems or between particles.
Okay, so
Gene, we're not going to talk about.
Yes.
So, Gene, we're not going to talk about entropy on this call.
We can. But honestly, so here's my thing about entropy is that I think there's order, and I think entropy is simply our lack of understanding of all the variables and our inability to have the access to the necessary level of compute to really quantify it. Like once you move past the two-body problem into a three-body problem, shit gets complicated, right? But then you add a million particles instead of a 3-body problem, you have a million body problem. There are rules and laws governing each interaction. We just don't have the compute to really connect all of it. So,
what I was going to say.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, Todd. I kind of got ahead of you on that one, but that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Pooch said entropy, and I just wanted to comment, Mike. Leave your sex life. Let's not talk about that in this live stream. But
Howdy, statistical mechanics, baby. That's part of engineering, statistical mechanics. Anyway,
that's true.
That's when you start getting That's when you start getting quantifying the unquantifiable, and we can kind of ballpark it, and that's really all. All we can do at this point in the
Pooch,
game.
What kind of engineer were you? That was your expertise?
I'm an antiquated engineer, an old, probably the last of the mechanical engineers. Back when
Okay.
Like people believe we actually went to space, Todd, back then.
Okay, so back to quantum entanglement. So what Sun shared was, he said that it exists. It really exists, and he's like,
yeah.
It's all about the positive energy, and you can manipulate that positive energy. And what he was sharing was that we need to entangle Epic Cash with Bitcoin in the mainstream flow of information to be able to marry them together. And okay, how do you do that? Well, he was misinformed because he was kind of educating me. He says, but think about it. You take a look at Epic Cash, a fork of Bitcoin, and I had to stop him there. And I'm like, no, it's not a fork of Bitcoin. And we had that conversation. But he was talking about that as he started to talk more, I started to do what I should never do, or I should stop being the host of this series. I started thinking in cants, not cans. And I started thinking he was talking about how we should, that we're the private Bitcoin and we're the better Bitcoin and all of that stuff. And I'm like, man, been there, done that, bought that t-shirt. It doesn't hunt. I'm like, I don't believe that we are the better Bitcoin. Sorry. I admire BTC. It is King Kong. It's $1 trillion. We're 10 million, maybe.
It is not going to zero.
Yeah, and it is not going to zero. But I got sucked into that narrative and went down the path to where there was a period of time in our history at Epic Cash to where we were on the intentionally opposite sides of the table, basically building ourselves up by knocking them down, saying everything that, they suck and we don't. But our tokenomics are do match Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
And based upon the decisions that we made with our technology, we could be described as Bitcoin, but private Bitcoin. Like, what is Epic Cash? And then he educated me. I was asking more about this entanglement because it eluded me. And then he goes, well, twins in the world. It's like things can literally happen to one twin, one of the twins on one side of the country, and then on the other, the twin will know something's wrong or will feel something or have a similar experience or whatever. And he said, that's quantum entanglement. And he said, if we put energy from a marketing standpoint into somehow marrying BTC with Epic Cash in the narrative, and then that's where I stopped him. And if we do that by sitting on the same side of the table as Bitcoin, not opposite, and then he triggered something in me when he started talking about twins. And I said, I like the marketing idea of Epic Cash. What is Epic Cash? Sitting next to somebody on an airplane. I could easily imagine being able to simply say, oh, you're familiar with Bitcoin? Yeah. Well, it's Bitcoin's private twin. That was my aha. Bitcoin's private twin. And then that led to, could there be either part of our website or a website on its own? Could there be a website or a section dedicated to educating people, entangling BTC with Epic Cash, to where we talk positively about Bitcoin on this side of the screen, if you will. And then on the other side, we demonstrate that Epic Cash is the twin, except it's private. And we educate people on the private element. And then my mind went to, man, if that could happen and people could just kind of easily get it, wouldn't it be cool then on that website to where you could have people, you could talk to people, and Pooch, this is what you were talking about when we connected. You're like, man, people, it's just a tiny hedge. Everybody should own Bitcoin, but as a tiny hedge, you should also acquire BTC's private twin. And so my mind was, hey, it'd be cool if people could literally buy crypto within this website, but it was dedicated to two coins. It was, you want to buy Bitcoin? Here, enter the amount you want, $1,000. You can then have a sliding scale to where you, at minimum, need to diversify 5% into Bitcoin's private twin, Epic Cash. Or if you wanted to move it to 10% or 15% or 12% or whatever. But I'm thinking have a minimum, just because it's almost like dollar cost averaging, forced dollar cost averaging, to where, look, for your own good, we want you to divest into Bitcoin's private twin. Now, wouldn't it be amazing? I mean, we know the tokenomics of Bitcoin. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could all just hit the rewind button, go back in the Wayback Machine? And when BTC was a micro cap at $10 million, wouldn't it be cool if we could invest a little back then, knowing what we know today? So with that, I present it to you, gentlemen, because that is the idea. And everybody watching, please, this is the beginning of our brainstorm. I don't know where it's going to head, but I invite you to think about it too. And please visit t.me/epic private money, t.me/epic private money. And within there, there's going to be a channel that is called Lead with Your Chin. So that is the area to where I invite people to come in. And after watching today, please, let's brainstorm in there. This may go nowhere. It may be after Gene and Mike talk about it, it may be a nothing burger. I don't know. But there could be a there. And if there is, I like the idea of the quantum entanglement of being able in the same sentence talk about Epic Cash along with this giant BTC in a positive way, not negative way. Okay, with that, Gene, what say you?
I like the idea of exploring positive properties, and we definitely have. We actually did talk about some of these things before without really highlighting them. So this is something we should definitely spend some time on, is highlighting the synergetic similarities.
Mm-hmm.
We have scarcity that matches. We have eventual matching even of the emission curve, and simplification that you already talked about. Epic being like HTTPS,
Right.
Bitcoin. So building on that message. And the big thing is, if you want to look at it like from an empirical standpoint, we already have a Bitcoin Epic pair. I mean, that is what we use. We have
right.
a Bitcoin Epic pair on Vite. We have it elsewhere. So the tools are there.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to highlight this as a more unique, kind of put it in a class of its own, let's say, and highlight it. We can set up a separate site for this, for example, and explore.
Could you do like private Bitcoin or private BTC or
BTC Twin? Yeah,
BTC Twin? That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll grab that.
So, is it available? I love BTC Twin. That's easy.
We have it. We got it. Yeah, btctwin.com.
We got it?
Yeah.
You're grabbing it?
Yeah, done.
Okay, look. Again, That may
So
be $9.99 that goes nowhere, or maybe it ends up being something. I don't care. I just love the fact that that is leading with your chin. So that's just Mike
the shot,
Puccinelli.
what was it? The shot that never hits the target is the one that was never taken. So
Yeah, that's
you
right.
take the shot. So
That's right.
it's
That's
really
right.
simple. We play.
The home run that never happens
Yeah.
certainly is when you don't swing,
Yeah,
you know?
we run the experiment. I mean, that's the spirit of Silicon Valley. That's the spirit of innovation. So we run the experiment and we see where it takes us.
Yeah, Mike, from the beginning, you were all about the marketing side. You're like, the tech's great, but ultimately, we got to be able to market this. People have to know we exist. What are your thoughts about having messaging like this? That's like, this is sending to the ether, that Epic Cash is BTC's private twin, Mike.
Look, I think it's great. I truly do. I mean, I got into it. I have a pretty decent little stake in Epic, and I got into it mainly because if you look at everything that's out there, BTC, they were first to market, but they did a lot of things right?
Yeah.
And Epic pretty much did a lot of the same things, the good things that BTC did. The one thing that started to concern me over time, money has evolved, right? If you go back to the beginning of time, money has always been around, whether it's actual money or first it started off as bartering. You have something, I have something, let's trade, that type of thing, right? And then it evolved into, gold is a precious metal. We're going to do this. Then it turned into money. And along the lines or along the way, people have gotten, corruption has kind of sunk in, right? And you can
Yeah.
look at, the US dollar as an example and the Fed and all this stuff. But, money and our ability to transact has got to evolve over time as we evolve, right? So this is a natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
It does bother me and on my, me, Todd, on the scale of privacy. I probably don't even rank on your scale, right? As far as concerns go, I'm pretty liberal when it comes to that.
Right.
But it does concern me that I can't go anywhere or do anything these days without people knowing, right? It starts with the internet. Who knows what the government can listen into every conversation. I'm in communications, as you know, with our software. And the inability to spend money the way you want without everybody knowing everything is very concerning to me, right? So privacy from that perspective, while also advancing how we transact and how we do commerce together, I think Epic is a great example of that, and that's why I'm a big believer. And I don't think it's just when the adoption of Epic comes along, but it is very much like BTC, and I think that message makes a lot of sense. And when you try to get too many, it's like when you present to somebody, Todd, and you've learned this from selling over the years, right? Your audience is only going to remember so many things. So what you want to do is pick your message, stay on your message, and hit it until everybody gets it, and then move on, right? It's how people learn. And
Right.
I think the best place for people to start with Epic is to understand that it is private Bitcoin. I mean, in a nutshell, that's what it is, right? There's a lot of other things you can talk about, and we don't need to get into those, but the privacy aspect of it, to me, is something that we are starting to lose. I mean, I get cash out of the ATM. They have there's cameras. They know that I took cash out. My bank knows that I took cash out. But then I go and spend it however I want. And, it is what it is. And there's I get some satisfaction out of that. And as we continue to evolve, how we transact, the inability or losing that last little piece of our freedom is a big concern. So I'm extremely bullish on Epic, and like I said, I think it's a matter of when, not if, and we just have to be patient. But I think the marketing aspect has always been a big void for us, right? And getting the message out, and at some point we just got to get the message out. And
But this makes it really simple, right? And Mike, would you mind, during our conversation, when I talked to you, you immediately got it, and your mind went to DuckDuckGo.
And I'm not endorsing DuckDuckGo, but if you watch the commercials, right, all they do is they say we are the private version of Google, right? And that's it. That's their message. Now, I don't want to say I haven't looked into DuckDuckGo. I don't know. I'm just talking about from a messaging standpoint.
It works.
When they do a commercial, it works. They've got a lot of adoption. And when you watch their commercials, it's Google on the left, DuckDuckGo on the right. They look the same, except you got the little duck icon instead of Google's icon. and the search results are the same. And all they are saying in their messaging is, we're private, they're not. Nobody will follow you.
Right.
And I'm sure you guys get annoyed when people follow you on the internet because, if you have any of those apps that listen to your phone, next thing you know, you got articles that are serving up based on something you were just talking without even being on the phone these days. They're listening all the time. So
it's true.
It's annoying. And their message is spot on and it works. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a great example
and it's consistent.
of
and
what you're talking about.
And it's something that, I mean, everybody in the chat, think about this. Tillman, I see you're in there. You rock. Thank you for being here. So it's simple. I was thinking as you're talking about this, and we think about sitting on a plane next to someone and trying to describe Epic Cash and asking, hey, do you know what Bitcoin is? Are you familiar with that? Oh, yeah, I've owned some since 2014. That's awesome. Okay, well, since you know Bitcoin, Epic Cash is basically Bitcoin's private twin. Very, very simple in its explanation, right? It's Bitcoin, but private. That's it, right? Now, there are two buckets as far as I'm thinking about this that I think are highly leverageable from a quantum entanglement standpoint. One is if you're owning public Bitcoin, you certainly probably should put your toe in the water in private Bitcoin, right? One. Number two, Gene, I'd love for you to talk about this. You have the most experience here in crypto, but can you describe, imagine somebody doesn't know Epic Cash, they know Bitcoin, they've invested in Bitcoin because they had somebody tell them to a long time ago, but they really don't understand what the difference between a King Kong cap like BTC or a micro cap and how leverageable the micro cap is.
As Enrique, our Latin American Jason Statham,
Yep.
likes to say, we talk about how much money would it take to
Right.
move Bitcoin X amount, to 2x Bitcoin, for example, and how likely is that? Bitcoin is sitting at a lofty $1 trillion market cap, so to go double, this would be a $1 trillion event.
So it'd be a $1 trillion infusion of additional incremental
value,
capital.
Somehow, somewhere, perceived value.
To 2x your money. So if I'm if I'm riding the bandwagon, I'm like, oh man, BTC is going on a run.
Yeah. And Epic is sitting in, in like a 20 cent range, so for Epic to move with the same scarcity as Bitcoin, it's a considerably, it takes considerably less effort, to move the needle. And this is the part that, and we kind of talked about this, and I'd like to, really talk about it some more as far as at a personal level. If somebody goes just nuts and starts creating awareness, and, let's say you're holding Bitcoin and you're holding Epic, okay, and you tell all your friends, you tell everybody, you start supporting the product, right? How much of a dent will you put in Bitcoin versus how much of a role you can actually have in Epic? And I think that's where it really comes down to.
It's a great point.
There's a massive amount of personal empowerment where literally every vote matters, every person matters, and every person can actually move the needle on Epic, as we've seen.
It's amazing.
It didn't take a lot to move us, to a buck. It didn't take a lot to move us, beyond that. And as we, and Mike, to your point, my background is marketing. I spent 30 years plus, in marketing, and I agree with you. The bigger problem was that we did not have a mature product in a sense of just having all the necessary whistles and bells, right? So you create all this awareness. You point people at a coin that initially didn't even have a GUI wallet, like a graphic interface wallet, right? It took us entirely too long to actually get to a level where we had a professional, GUI wallet. But then the next thing that we took, thanks to Diego and his team, we have a mobile wallet. And that's where I think at this point, if before we were saying, well, Epic needs this to get to the next level, or Epic needs that, and we had these excuses like, why aren't we beating on the marketing drum? Because we did have these components that the mature ecosystem has to have, absolutely has to have. You need to be able to easily, painlessly transact. With Epic Box introduction, we have these semi-persistent addresses now, so that people don't need to open their IP address and learn ngrok or we removed enough friction from transactions.
Yes.
To the point where we can now focus on marketing, and that's what we're doing. So we're beginning to focus on marketing. We just recently overhauled our website thanks to,
Mm-hmm.
in large part, to the community outreach. People just rolled up their sleeves and and led the charge, and that is really tremendous. And that's exactly the point again, that where individuals made this huge impact that will get us more attention, that will get us more visibility, and
And do
it
you know,
definitely
Gene?
means more than it does in Bitcoin world.
Yeah, Gene, do you know that initiative on the website development is what inspired me to get back into this YouTube thing
That's awesome.
and create the Lead with Your Chin. That's what inspired this series. Um, and what has resulted from that and all the positive feedback from the series,
Mm-hmm.
from the initial guest to Sky King to now you and Mike,
Mm-hmm.
I have, since mid-May, and we know the mid-May meltdown and all the drama that ensued and
Mm-hmm.
everything. I mean, we were at $1.20, now we're at 20 cents, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, man, there has been such healing engagements by DM, at least between me and some others, and what
I think overall, I mean, yeah,
yeah,
you've been a a beacon for sure, but I think just overall there's been a lot of reconciliation, and
100%. And you know what?
it's a healthier body. It's a much
It's
healthier body
so
than ever before.
dangerously good,
Yeah.
because the people, when we were rocking and rolling, I'm going to say, if anybody could vote, most likely everybody wishes we could rewind back to April and then play out May differently, but it is what it is. But that core team from April, 99.9% of those folks are still here. After a sabbatical, we are all coming back together. And for those of you who are paying attention, good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
I
And I
guarantee
really
it.
like the maturity level of the people who remained and of the people who
Right.
stepped up, that we have this healthy mutual respect. We come at it from a place of mutual respect. There's no jealousy. There's no, like, oh, somebody's hogging the spotlight. It's like, I'm just excited, like, shit, yeah, somebody stepped up, somebody else stepped up, and somebody else stepped up. The
Right.
magical somebodies, because before that we had this whole thing, well, how come some magical somebody is not moving the price? And we pushed back and we said that, look, be that magical somebody. Anybody can be
Yeah.
the magical somebody. Like you talked about it at your show. Like, you were never jealous. Like, well, don't you dare start another morning talk. Because it's my pawn. It's like, no, man, you constantly
No.
pitch. Like, step the f up, grab a mic, and get put yourself out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're beginning to see people doing this in whatever ways they can.
Oh,
Like launching a
100%.
website. Joining your talk show.
So cool.
It's
So
very
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Hey, Mike Puccinelli, you are CEO of two companies, tech companies. And I would like to ask you, because we've had these conversations, is it true or not that if you build the tech, they will come?
1,000% incorrect. I can tell you that every time.
Okay,
This I can
educate
tell
us.
you.
Educate us.
If you build it, they will come never works, right? It's always, I mean, I have done it multiple times and made the same mistake every time. And I've had salespeople tell me, if we had this, do it. And we have built some great things and nobody uses them. But when we sell a client and they say they want something and we build it, it gets used. So it's a huge fallacy. It's just never true. I mean, if you build it, they will come. Only works if you build it and promote it and promote it and promote it and promote it.
Bingo.
And you happen to be right when you built it, then they will come. But marketing and awareness trumps building. Typically.
And so the lesson.
So not even if you have a really kick-ass cornfield around you, the cornfield does that just doesn't, like, people don't just pop out of the cornfield.
It has never worked for me, Gene.
No, I can't. I hear you. I hear you.
But the lesson.
And I've tried, guys.
Yeah.
Trust me. Even to your point, Todd, in business, so many times, and I know I'm right. I'm right. Everybody needs this, right?
Yep.
I mean, I'll just tell you, we have released. We had salespeople tell us we can't sell because we don't have this, right? We have then released those tools, right? And they still aren't selling it, right?
Yep.
And so you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
What's your next
this
excuse?
is ridiculous. But,
Yeah, you don't want to get passive
Mhm.
aggressive and snippy, but at some point you kind of start calling people out and go like, okay, man, what's your next excuse? Like, what else
Well,
do we
and
need?
that's why I've kind of I really, upon reflection with this quantum entanglement idea, I really, instead of poo-pooing it and thinking that's too esoteric or that's too out there, I don't understand the physics, I'm like, no, I get it. This is positive energy. And if we can create something to where we educate folks in a very simple and succinct way, and we can leverage two things, two messages, which is, Epic Cash is Bitcoin's private twin. And if you like Bitcoin, wouldn't you like to have some private money along with that that has the same tokenomics? And then at the other side, you have this highly leverageable. If you're thinking about diversification, why would you want all of your investment dollars in a macro cap that to 2x your money, you need an additional $1 trillion, which that $1 trillion took, what, coming on 15 years to be able to create? Is that going to happen this year or next year or whatever? But Epic Cash, BTC's private twin, to go from $5 million current market cap to 50 million to, you know, now you're talking about the dollars invested having a different kind of multiple that's highly achievable. And then you
so,
just
so
go ahead, Mike.
let me just jump because I have to drop soon, so I
Yep.
apologize. But yeah, so I think the question is this: if you think cryptocurrency is the future for currency, right? If you think that, right,
Yeah.
then you got to ask yourself, what, is it going to be BTC? I mean, I don't like, to Gene said, it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
So then you just have to ask yourself, where do you want to be 5 years from now in the crypto world if that's what everybody's going to have at their disposal, right? And to me, I want that sense of ownership, and I want the security. So I don't think you get into Epic today because you're looking to trade. Like, there's this trading channel and you watch, and this is not about trading and
Right.
trying to make a quick buck and get in and get out, right? It's a long term. You got to think down the road. You got to think long term. And to me, I don't see how anybody could say crypto is not going to be the future of currency based on what we know today.
Yeah.
Right. And then where do you want to be in that world? Right. Do you want to have some SHIB tokens, right? Tokens. Is that what you want? No, you don't want that.
We have persistency of
BTC,
value.
great.
Right, Mike. I believe we have persistency of value. Whereas, meme tokens are fads. They come and go. Like, this is in, then the next day it's out, but there is persistency of value in Bitcoin. There's persistency of value in Epic. There's the scarcity. There's the privacy. The tech is there, and it's persistent. Like, it's immutable in a sense that, I mean, the transactions are immutable. You have true fungibility. You have all these things that are highly advantageous for moving value across the world. And people, it's interesting, like public attention people get saturated and they get numb, right? We hear less and less about CBDCs. Ironically, as they become more and more of a reality, people get more and more jaded with this. So to me, it's like, it is a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And we're laying down these bricks, that we're laying down this foundation, and we're building on this gradually. And for some folks, maybe it's too slow. And to me, the answer is, roll up your sleeves and be that magical somebody. Because again, on a micro cap, absolutely, it's like a startup, right? Every pair of hands. This is not like if you're working for like a 30,000 employee company and you're a guy in the assembly line, and if you screw something up, like, nobody's going to notice, right? Or he's a middle management guy that nobody notices, so you can pretty much just, surf the internet. This is where, like, everybody matters. Every single pair of hands matters. Good or bad, whatever. Every single team member impacts, as we saw, impacts the outcome. And I think it's empowering. I think it's exciting for people, to roll up their sleeves and contribute.
Hey, Mike and Gene, first of all, Mike, thank you for joining.
Yeah,
and I know you have a hard stop, so I want to be respectful of that. And so we'll wrap this up here in the next few minutes. But I just want to say that when I started covering Epic Cash, literally almost 4 years ago, it was at 18 cents. It ended up getting to 6.85. And then we had this volatile, it's at 20 cents today, folks. If we had, back when I started covering it at 18 cents, what we have today, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how I believe how quickly we would have blown through $10 just because it was such an undiscovered coin. Now we have a lot of history over the last 4 years, and there have been some ups and downs. And recently, since mid-May, there was the meltdown, and that really did negatively impact the project. But what I'm here to share, and I hope you all are getting the message, is we are so far beyond where we were when I started covering it at 18 cents. We're 2 cents above 4 years ago, sports fans, and we got up to 685. And I believe in it more today than I ever have. And I think that the smart people out there are going to be paying attention, saying, hey, the band's getting back together. We know what they've done before. I better start dollar cost averaging now. It is my second bite at the apple. So I invite you all to please do some introspection. And what do you think? Do you think we are better today as a total overall community project, the bells and whistles, than we were 4 years ago at 20 cents? Well, I really hope you vote with I'm going to say your investment, because that's what I think it is. I'm not here to talk about speculation, but man, oh man, I am here to talk about the future of crypto. And if you like BTC, how can you not like BTC's private twin? Okay, Mike, I'll give you a quick last word, and you can bolt, and then Gene, same with you. Mike?
Yep. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. This is a great conversation. The one thing that's been consistent since I got involved, which was years ago, is it's private version of Bitcoin, plain and simple, right? And to me, I think the future of cryptocurrency is here, and I think it's here to stay. I think all currency is going that way, and I couldn't be happier with the privacy aspect that comes along with Epic, which so happens to match everything about the good stuff about BTC. So I'm very happy. I think it's the future. So I think
awesome,
the messaging is great. And I got to drop. I apologize.
You bet.
But
okay. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it. All right.
Thanks
Cheers.
a lot, Mike.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Everybody, that's a humble man. I know that he would never say it, but the guy literally is CEO of 2 tech companies, and he is so highly regarded within our company, within the portfolio companies. And man, I just love the guy. So I am really glad that he was able to come on. We were going to do this at noon, but he had a noon meeting. And so I said 11, and he said, yeah, I can make 11. So I'm really glad that he was able to come on. Same with Eugene. Gene, I'll give you the last word here. Any thoughts or additions, suggestions?
I think I like, well, I don't think I know. I like how you brought up the quantum entanglement thing and the whole twin paradigm. That if we approach this, again, we're not trying to disparage.
Right.
We're building on somebody's success, and we said this before, we're actually approaching this very humbly, that we stand on the shoulders of giants. We always acknowledge that.
Yep.
It's just, we did highlight a lot of the obvious shortcomings of all of these different crypto projects. And I honestly still think that we brought this up in a very objective manner, without being disrespectful. But at the same time, I think people are just tired of that approach, that people know, and they don't. What we've seen is people don't care. That a lot of people don't care about Bitcoin's lack of privacy or other liabilities.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if we offer that look, okay, you may not care because you didn't realize this. Thanks to the world governments trying to destroy, not trying, actually actively destroying privacy, actively trying to be able to have an ability backdoor into every system, including smart contract system, as we just saw from that law that was passed in Europe. That actually it was passed and it became active in Europe, where privacy, immutability is becoming something that those people who are saying like, oh, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't, guess what? They came for you. There's a knock at your door. Privacy is no longer just
That's
something
right.
that's for those people. You're
That's
beginning
right.
to realize that, it's like I'm affected by this. And I don't want to get political and I don't want to get overly technical, but it really is, like I'll use your example. I'll steal a page out of,
Sure.
I'll crib from your playbook. Okay.
Okay.
Just, when you're in the crapper, you want the door closed. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
And it doesn't matter you're doing something super nefarious in there, but there is a simple expectation of privacy, which I believe is a human right. And if you approach it at that level, and you give it some extra attention, let's say we take the site, we spin it up. It's an exercise. It's an experiment, right?
Yeah.
We're doing something to create additional awareness. It doesn't cannibalize what we're doing. It doesn't take away, because that's the other thing. Like some retractors might say,
That's right.
"Oh, you're taking the eye off the ball." Like, no, no. We have many eyes, we have many hands, and we have many people who are willing to. This is somebody who came up and said, "Hey, look, I'm going to run this initiative," and we're like, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah.
Just like we had, several alternative websites spin up for Epic Cash, and some people, like, they kind of worked through the competitive aspect of it, and then some people, got their panties twisted in a bunch,
Yep.
and they got, they got
Yeah.
petty and childish. And in a
Mm-hmm.
grown up world, especially in a business world, there's really no room for that. Look,
None. Zero.
it's merit, and nobody. You can be first best, second best. You can be, but you're playing the game. You're in the process, and you're contributing, and
Yeah.
that gives you community respect. Um,
It,
so
it, it really
that's what
does.
we're doing. We're coming together more than before as a community. We're healing
Yep.
up. We're rebooting, and I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty
So
excited
I'm
for
going
the
to throw
future.
out into the universe, just because I love him, love him, love him. But Tillman, I know he's watching.
He's in there.
Yep. Tillman, hey, would you mind throwing the right side of your brain, the left side of your brain at this notion of being able to perhaps articulate in a positive way quantum entanglement, that BTC and Epic Cash are actually attached at the hip? People might not know about it, but if you think about it in terms of quantum entanglement, and the tokenomics of BTC and Epic Cash, and being able to educate people on the simple, which is BTC, Epic Cash is BTC's private twin. Just developing that narrative, A, and B would be the other aspect of being able to educate people on, the divesting necessarily. Just take a little piece of what you would invest in BTC. And let's just call it two cryptos. There's 23, 25,000. I don't know how many there are out there right now. I was thinking as we were all talking, I'm like, if somebody was sitting down and I was all into hex, and somebody on the plane said, tell me what this hex is, it wouldn't be as simple as saying, are you familiar with Bitcoin? Well, it's Bitcoin's private twin from a tokenomic standpoint. It's BTC, but private. That I couldn't do that with hex. I couldn't do it with hex. So I would love to be able to also educate people somehow very succinctly on the power of being able to take if you have the same tokenomics, and one's $1 trillion and one's $10 million, what could happen to your investment if you just took 5% and you divest? I don't know. Just throwing it into the universe, because that's what this show is all about. Stirring things up, getting it out. And look, I don't know where it's going to go, but I guarantee you, we have enough of these kind of conversations, we're going to stumble on something.
Mhm.
And I want to leave you all with this. Just like Sun 30303 reached out to me by DM at Todd Pitner, TODDPITNER, in Telegram, and said he'd like to have a conversation with me. And he threw out this notion of quantum entanglement, and that we need to entangle Epic Cash with Bitcoin in the mainstream flow of information. I really like that, and do it in a positive light. What might be going on inside your head, your mind? If there's anything that you think is value add, or if there's I mean, anything, everybody. That's what I'm hoping is that we can have more positive conversations like this. There is no A team, there is no B team, there is no what was it called? Not the E6, not the any there's we've control alt deleted Epic Cache to where we are all on the same page. And it's just about those wanting to advance the project. And I think that's all of you watching right now.
And
And
anybody can do it, and everybody should do it. That's the simple truth. Anybody can contribute, and everybody should contribute, and it'll be a better world for everybody who is doing that.
it will, it will. So the two places that we can come, you can come on Telegram to talk about Epic Cache. The main community is t.me/Epic Cache. Please join that. There's a second one, t.me/Epic Private Money. That's not just about Epic Cache. It's also about other private cryptos, but that is where you will be able to find the discussion group for this Lead with Your Chin series. So if you go and you join that, you can also join the discussion group for it. And we invite you to come in and, you know, I titled the show 1 + 1 + 1 = 111. You know, I knew my discussion with Gene and Mike would equate to 111 because that's just how we all roll, everybody. All right. Gene, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time and friendship. And everybody in the
Likewise, Todd.
chat,
Likewise.
thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. Please smash the like button, subscribe, let other people know that this exists. How about everybody watching? There are 20+ people watching. How about every one of you think about 5 people to be able to just send a link to this specific show who might be interested or might already be invested in crypto or just might be interested in privacy. Please, please help us.
I'd like to just
Yes.
one thing. Somebody popped in. I'm just watching the conversation in the
Yep.
channel, and somebody popped in and said, "Why is it so hard to buy Epic Cash for somebody who doesn't know a lot about crypto?" And I would challenge that. If you go to our groups, you can see how you can buy it.
Mhm.
The game changer here is Vitex, which is a non KYC place where you can literally transfer some Bitcoin there, and you can start trading without filling out anything, without waiting
Right.
for days, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there is definitely a barrier of entry, like it is with all crypto.
Yeah.
But the point that I like to lean on is if somebody can navigate their way through MetaMask, which is the biggest,
Yep.
most hostile effing joke as far as acquiring crypto, and yet millions, literally millions of people are using it.
Right.
They can get through our stuff. And if somebody wants to
Yes.
get some free Epic Cash, I'll do a quick plug. Giver of Epic is giveroфepic.com is a place where you can actually you download the wallet and you can actually go in there and you can it's a faucet that dispenses
Awesome.
dispenses little bits of Epic Cash. So get some. I mean that's
Beautiful.
really easy.
Great idea.
Freebie.
Yeah, and again, think about it. When I started covering it 4 years ago, it was 18 cents. Now it's 20 cents. It was nowhere nearly as easy to be able to acquire Epic Cash back then. I mean, that's not true, actually, because I bought mine through the Vite multi-wallet exchange, and that's where you would buy it now. If you can acquire BTC, you can easily buy Epic on Vite. And there is t.me/Epic Cash help desk as well.
Mm-hmm.
There is buyepiccash.com. My channel is riddled with all kinds of tutorials on how to buy Epic Cash. So to me, a little bit, and don't take this wrong, whoever made this comment, it's kind of beholden on us as Epic Cash holders, getting other people interested, to be able to be of assistance, to be able to help perhaps hold their hand. But I think at bottom, it can tend to be a little bit too easy of an objection that it's too hard. I don't think it's too hard.
Give it a shot. I mean, it's
Yeah.
10 minutes, okay, literally 10 minutes digging into it. You should be able to get up and running.
Right.
It's that simple.
That's right. t.me/Epic Cash, Epic Cash help desk. there's lots of people who be willing to be able to help you. And I know that there are many who are watching now that are in the help desk and would be happy to be able to help people. So look, but it is where we is. We're in such a beautiful place right now. I believe with all my heart, this is the second bite at the apple. This is everybody's opportunity who, when we were trading at $3, $4, $5, $6, $6.85, we're saying, man, oh man, if I could have started buying at 18 cents, man, I missed the boat. I missed the boat. Well, the boat backed into harbor and said, welcome aboard. So are you going to come on board?
It's a good way of putting it.
Yes. All right. Bon voyage, everybody.
Thank you, Todd.
All right. We'll see you.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Take care,
And I
folks.
will not be here Friday, but next week, I promise.